Hello, Network Empire community, friends, family, loved ones, small animals. What in the world is that hiding out in the crowd? Okay, never mind. Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answers to, Mike. This must be uncensored and unplugged.
We are uncensored. Yeah, that's right. We are uncensored. We are unplugged. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Mike Clay, joined by the one, the only Sue Bell, and
Hey,
then
everybody.
we have hiding in the background, Kevin Polly. Kev, how you doing, buddy?
Evening all. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Greetings those across the pond from the UK.
We
All
have
right.
several here today.
We do. We have a pretty good-sized crowd, too. Let me ask, guys, give me a 1 if this is your first Network Empire webinar. Is it just me, or do we have just a smart aleck community?
We've got a very
We might
smart
encourage
community.
that.
I think sarcasm is a gift that is abundant in our crowd.
At least there are some genuine ones in there. And just to follow on from Mike, can we get a 2 if this is not your first Network Empire, and a 3 if you just want Mike to tell a really bad joke?
Oh, no threes?
Oh, no. I got a new one.
Threes. No threes.
My wife gave me a new joke. How much room do you need to grow fungus?
Oh dear.
Is a fungus among us?
I don't know, Mike.
As
Please
much
tell
room
us.
as you can get.
Oh! That is just so bad.
It was awful, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was, but, sort of, let's try and get this back on track. We've also been joined from the other side of the hemisphere of the world by Matt DeCruz. Good evening, Matt.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Matt, it's so wonderful to have you with us. Thank you.
I couldn't resist when I saw the little teddy bears running around. Okay, let me see what's going on here.
The next slide is
I can
where
hear my wife calling.
she's asleep. All right. No, but today we're going to talk about the vision. We're going to talk about the mindset. We're going to talk about the ecosystem of what the WebRing platform is. And
Right.
in going into that, Sue, I asked very, very quickly for Sue to just kind of give me an outline. How did this begin? How did it go from transitioning from ThemeZoom into Network Empire, and from the Network Empire of yesterday to what we have now? Because what we have now is really starting to grow. So walk us through it, or Sue, walk us through it.
We started all the way back in 2006. Even then we were looking at themes. The original company name was ThemeZoom, and it was all about being able to scope in and out of a theme. So being able to start with a keyword that you think is going to be your primary keyword, and then be able to scope out and look at the vertical market and see what components make up that vertical market, and then zoom in to specific niches that make up your particular the aspect of your market segment. So those were the original tools way back in 2006, and we got to version 3 of ThemeZoom, and then we started rewriting it into Kraken, and that was in 2008.
Well, okay.
And certification. What's that?
I started to jump ahead, then I read my notes. My bad.
Certification actually happened just as we launched Kraken version 1, and that was really a lot of fun. That was a really fun, fast building time for us. And in 2009,
Sorry,
I don't like
that's
that.
my phone.
2009. What's my keyword for 2009?
2009. We're right after. What did you develop? What was developed right after certification?
Yes. So 2000. So think about this for a second. 2008. We've just rewritten Kraken. We're just starting to write TLKT. But I walked away from our very first certification with the awareness of how important social media had become. So at that point, there were all of these platforms, and they were coming up and dropping like flies. So the platform of the moment, you could get on that platform, you could attract all of this attention, you could get all of this traffic, and people were actually spending more time on those social platforms than they were spending on their money site, and then it would drop. And then their whole business model gone, right? Because everything that they were doing, it was all off of this platform that's now defunct. So I walked away after listening to some of our CERT students and talking to people, and I said, you know, there has to be a way that we can develop a system that will allow us to interchange these social platforms so that you're not dependent on any one, and you haven't spent so much time and energy building that one platform. And with that, the ring system was born and the concept of the one feed. So in other words, you could use the one feed system to actually feed all of your platforms so that you go in there, you still have to set the branding up and blah, 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 but then you use feeds to pump your content out. So that was the very initial beginning in 2009 of this idea of a structure that could be interchangeable. So then,
and that was still ThemeZoom at the time, correct?
That's still ThemeZoom, yeah.
So what happened? What happened from ThemeZoom to 2011?
So 2009 was also was actually, yeah, 2009 was also a really tough year for us in terms of ThemeZoom. That was when the economy started to
really
go down.
Things. Yeah.
Yeah, and Russ moved to Hawaii, and ThemeZoom kind of got very quiet. And so while I had this quiet space, Matt and I started to converse back and forth. And we started to conspire about what the next version of Kraken would look like, right? And I said, well, I had just built out a huge frippin' blueprint for somebody that had like 10,000 keywords in it, and so I was complaining to him on Skype every single day. I'm like, man, I need this thing. I need it to be able to do this. Look at what I just had to do in a spreadsheet and the calculations I had to do, and the spreadsheet's having a tough time dealing with all of these fields and all of this data, and man, I wish it were in a database. And so while I'm complaining, Matt is starting to code. So,
nice, look, yeah.
right? He'd shoot me this, and he's like, is this what you're looking for? And I'm like, no, 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 no. It needs to be like this and like this. And he'd shoot me something back, and I'm like, oh, wow, I hadn't thought about that. That's a really good addition. Wow. Oh, that's good, too. Oh, that's really cool. So we compiled all of these ideas, and version 1 of DWS was born. And that was in 2011. And about that time, Russ came back from Hawaii, and he said, hey, whatever it is that you're involved in, can I be a part of? And so Matt and I said, sure, come on in. And so Network Empire as a company, the members area, everything that came around DWS was born at that point. And then we kind of fast forward on up to 2013, which is when our next growing spurt really occurred. We'd gotten the first formation of DWS, like, we were a small team up to that point, right? It's just the three of us. Matt is coding his fingers to the bone, like 18-hour stupid programming days. And Russ and I are trying to figure out how to explain all of the stuff, all of the construct that goes around that. And
version 4 before we went public.
Yeah, right? So 2003.
Wait, did I just hear Matt say y'all made it all the way to DWS version 4 before it went public?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when we were happy to like get it at the door, because it was crazy in the beginning.
Yeah,
You had to be a programmer to understand it. It was just too hard. Russ was like, what's it? I don't know what it is. I said, it does this. No, I can't see it. It was crazy. He did my head in.
Matt came over for 6 weeks, and we sat around the dining room table with the projector up on the wall, and Russell would talk about everything that he couldn't understand, and so we reconstructed all of the screens, every single last one of them.
Okay,
And
let me take a half a step back. Hey guys, all you in the crowd, give me a 1 if you were around in the 2011 timeframe where Network Empire was born, where Russ came back from Hawaii and joined in with Matt and Sue. Give me a 1 if you were there then. I have one person that is... Oh, there they are.
no, there they come.
There they come.
Yeah, there's the boys. Raz was there.
Jordan from all the way back in 2006. We have a surprising number of people from back in 2006.
2006. Yeah. Wow, even farther back.
Yep.
Dominic came in the year after. All right. Okay, cool. I just wanted to... I kind of wanted to see how many of the guys from that far back came in. Nice. I was watching. I was in the background lurking, trying to follow Theme Zoom, going, one day I will hang out and I will understand this, because right now I don't.
Naro was around. That doesn't surprise me. Lurking.
That does not surprise me at all.
So then 2013 was when we first had our real growing spurt. We had kind of a lot of things. We had a lot of the pieces. We didn't have all the pieces, but we had a lot of the pieces, and it was enough to do a JV with OMG, and so we got our name out there a little bit, and at that point we took on more people onto our team. So we brought in people that were partners onto our team. So that's when Kevin has been in the shadows, like some of his pictures indicate, from all the way back at the beginning. Yeah. But that was when he really stepped forward.
Screens.
Oh, Kevin,
those were the days.
2008 Kevin, I met you.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Introduced you to me.
Before, yeah, before Matt got involved, Kraken was a beast that needed 2 or 3 monitors, because if you can imagine, those of you that have seen all of the data on those one nice screens and DWS where everything's easy to use, before then it was just a case of raw data. So a geek like me, I was in 7th heaven. You know, even back then, just having that much raw data, being the geek and being able to play, and I was ranking for terms that, you know, people were going, how are you doing that? I'm saying, secret tool. And there was this sub-community within the wider community of people that were using Kraken and the tools that we'd got, but they wouldn't tell anyone else about it, because we've got access to this.
They still don't. That's my secret weapon. I'm not going to tell anybody. Nobody else can know.
Well, you know, I found out about it by accident. I heard 2 of the instructors, 2 of the coaches and instructors from StomperNet talking about it. And that's how I got introduced to Network Empire.
And not talking about it in front of the room, talking about it at the bar, right?
They were sitting at the bar having drinks, talking about how awesome Kraken was, while I was trying to stand there and order a drink, and they didn't even know I was standing there. And I'm like, let's go look that up. Let's go see who that is. If that's a secret that they don't want to tell anybody here, that's a pretty cool secret to get into. And that's how I got introduced to y'all.
So at that point, like from that point forward, you guys should know that the actual owners were Russ, Matt, and myself. And everybody else on the team is and always has been their own independent company. So like Kevin has got Mutual Advantage. He owns ARP Reach. He owns a hosting company. Do you still have clients, Kevin?
Yeah, I take on the odd client here and there, mainly for the email marketing side of things, and okay. There's, you know, there's a few semantic people, but yeah, I take on the odd client here and there.
That's awesome. And when Jimmy came, Jimmy was also, he had his own company. He's still got his own company. He did his own live event last year. He's doing his own live event this year. And Gina, she's got her own company. Fran's got her own company. They both have clients. Who am I missing?
Kelly.
Kelly's got a successful, well, he's kind of shut down his hosting company. There's only 2 or 3 of us that are allowed to host there now, but so it's gone very private. But he's got a programming company. So yeah, it's a collection. What I wanted to create, or what Matt and I wanted to create, was a team of experts. And I honestly believe that you can't be an expert at something unless you're doing it 24/7. And then obviously the latest addition to our team is Mike Clay, who clearly has Clay Digital, and we wanted to bring him in because of his agency experience, because all of the rest of us, our agencies have fallen down into rather a minimal state. I haven't had a client in at least 3 years. So we needed somebody who really had his feet on the ground and
was willing to talk
understood the
about
problems. Yeah, exactly. Willing to talk about it and really understood the problems so that we could stay in touch more with our audience. So, all right, let's just see what some of the comments are. Lots of Stomp Predict comments. Excellent. I'm looking forward to that too, Jerry. Right? All right, so.
Okay, George's comment is great. Mike Clay, feet on the ground. He's the reality check. Y'all in trouble now.
Right. So Roy, just in case you don't know, for anybody who doesn't know, Russ has been really sick for the last year. He got, unfortunately, sick on his birthday last year, and he's decided that he needed to step down and do something that was less intense because, you know, I got whips. I'll admit, I got whips. No,
yeah, we work 60, 80-hour weeks around here, and and that's normal.
Is that all? Wait, you've been slacking, Mike.
What?
Yeah, I was just about to say that, Mike. How come you get off the line?
They don't believe it when I say 100 hours a week.
Oh, that's what I said to Mike. Welcome back from your vacation. He's like, what? What?
I took him a day on Friday morning. Matt's like, welcome back to vacation. So as you were saying, Sue.
Yeah. So that brings us up to today. And so 2016, this is such an exciting year for us because this is the very first year that version 1.0 of the vision is in place. So in other words, we have at this juncture all of the pieces. We've got, between the CLC courses and the AT courses, we've got all of the knowledge in place that you guys need to go from front to back to build the entire web ring system out. We've got all of the tools. We've got new version of keywords. Obviously, the new version of Kraken is knocking at the door. And as soon as like if Google would just quit updating, right? I think we could have gotten here a whole lot faster if the internet hadn't changed so much. But we've got the new version of Kraken coming, and there will always be software updates. Like if I waited for all the software to be perfect, we would never launch. But this is the year that we really go to town and we start marketing. And so,
well, and this is the first time in the history of the organization that marketing has been active and something that was actually thought of and done, correct?
Yep, yeah. Yep, where we actually built, darest I say, a funnel.
What?
Right?
Yeah. It's taken us, 7 years to get in market, building the business.
Yep. And so...
And could I say something in regards to what you're saying, Sue? Just a short thing.
For sure.
check the guys, we build businesses. We're not here to build rankings, we're building businesses. And what we've focused on over the last nearly a decade is building business-centric tools that can help you get the answers and give you the information you need to build sites rapidly that actually work over time. And then the training at the back of it is to help you implement the knowledge so you can make better decisions as you're building your business. This is what we do at Network Empire. Now, the cool thing about our web ring, the whole web ring system, is we've developed modules that you can plug into each part of the web ring. So whether it's a DAS stack, whether it's a PinVid, whether it's a money site, we've got these things we can plug into the system and we treat them in a particular way. And when we treat them in a particular way, we get the results. And this is what's at the heart of everything that we do at Network Empire. So that's all I wanted to say, Sue, just over there, just to get that like nice and clear for everybody of what we're about.
Okay, excellent. I was typing, so I didn't actually hear what you said, but I'm sure it was good. So what I wanted to say, the announcement that I want to make at this point, is you guys are the insiders. You guys are friends and family. I am so grateful to all of the people who are here with us at this point, whether you've been here for the entire last 10 years or whether you've just been with us for the last 10 weeks. You guys are special to me, to all of us. And we want to create a space where you guys will continue to be special, because up until now, this has been a closed cult. This has been, you find us by luck and by happenstance, and you stick with us because you resonate with us. And so moving forward right now in this space, we're doing things that are going to make us more appealing to a larger market. We're getting rid of some of the specialized jargon and trying to break things down a little bit more so that it's easier to understand and you don't require a PhD to be able to get through the training.
I don't think some PhDs could keep up.
Yeah, we have had problems, yes.
I've watched guys that are doctors sit there going, can you go backwards on that one a little bit, please? Thank you.
Right. So it was my intention to have a type form created already, but Mike talked right up until the beginning of the webinar.
Sorry. Not really.
So watch for the replay. There will be a link underneath the replay, and I want you guys to click the link. It's just going to be a type form that's just like, give me your email address, just so that we can contact you, and we will email you guys, and we will create, I don't know what yet, like a private Facebook group or some private group somewhere, because right now we can't hold everybody that's actually active in a single Skype group because there's too many people. You got this max of 300 stupid people in Skype. So we'll find a place where all of us can get together, and you guys will be privy, because you guys are on the inside now. You guys will be privy to webinars and information and craziness where we can be ourselves and we can talk to you and give you stuff that I don't want to just tell everybody about. And and past this point, like, this will be open for, I don't know, like 10 days or whatever, until we really start pushing the marketing stuff here. And past that point, if you want to get in, it's by invitation only. You either got to, show me the PayPal receipt that proves that you were, or, show me that you're certified and that you can put together a ring system or something like that. So, yeah, I know Facebook. No, I agree with you, Desiree. I'm not fond of Facebook either, but I couldn't think of a platform that would work. But we'll find something. Get together at Sue's house. That's a great idea, Joe. I need a little bigger place, but I'm game with that.
Just strap canvas over the roofs.
Patrick, Matt, and I'll take the grill. You own this. Food for everybody.
Exactly. Bring chocolate. Pat's gonna cook. That's awesome. Um, WhatsApp group. Okay. A WhatsApp. Maybe that'll work. All right. We'll. If you guys have got suggestions, you know what?
Add
I'll
it
put a
to the
couple of
form.
fields. Yeah, I'll put a
Yeah.
couple fields into the form so that folks can make suggestions as to their favorite platform. All right. Excellent. 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 All right. So that's the history lesson. Now what's up?
Now what's up? Now what's up is I have to find the minimize. There it is. Sorry. So let's dive into this. Let's actually go into. Let's start talking about the philosophy, the mindset, the vision of what the web ring is. Because what I've noticed, and I had this when I was first diving into it, is there's a lot of misconceptions about the web ring. So let's just start really going into it. The vision of what the web ring system is. So, and we've kind of talked about this. We've all talked about it a little bit here, but let's just kind of go into it just a little bit. The mindset for the web ring system.
Yes.
It was to build a foundation, which is what the web ring framework really is.
Mm-hmm.
It was to have a system in place, and what you've done is y'all have built a modular system that encompasses all of digital marketing, and then to build software to automate different aspects and levels of it, which you've done with Kraken, DWS, the killer keyword tool, social explosion, the silo plugin. I mean, there's just, the list is huge. One Feed Supercharger, which is one of my favorites. And then you went into training people, which was the certification level training, the advanced training courses, webinars, and certification. Why?
Those?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So this was actually an interesting thing. The advent of the CLC and the AT courses came about because up until that point in time, Russell had put out, it wasn't just Russ, I put out a few courses too, but Russell had been putting out a tremendous number of courses with a lot of information, and they weren't maintainable, right? And I was like, same thing as the web system, the web ring system, excuse me, there's got to be a better way. This is like, we've got to be able to create a training system that is modular and evergreen, the same as what we have with the web ring system. So we changed the way that we were doing courses. And the difference between the CLC and the AT courses is the AT courses were taught once, they're advanced training courses, and then it's just a webinar series. And there are times when either a webinar, a recording, or as it is with the local leads, the entire course things have moved so far that we actually just need to redo the entire course. And so we'll go in and we'll either swap out the one video or we'll swap out the entire course, redo it again, and when we redo that, then there'll be the opportunity to sit in on some of those webinars. But the CLC courses were designed as coaching courses because it's technical and it's more difficult to actually implement, and so those courses are actually taught regularly, and you get to go through a fresh iteration, and with each iteration we renew it and we enhance it, and we walk folks through step by step what they need to do. Now there's step-by-steps there as well. You can read the step-by-steps and follow those. You don't have to wait for the next CLC course to actually be taught. You can jump in at any time that you want to. But the other thing is that they're perpetual courses, so you join once, and as the internet changes, as we update the course, you get to keep up with all of the new versions. You get to keep up with the new software or the new plugins, the new whatever it is that we're doing. However it is that the internet has changed, whatever it is that we're unplugging out of the web ring system and plugging something in, that's reflected in the course and in the training, and you get to keep up with it.
Yeah, you sometimes even see the changes in real time, like with the Pinvid course we've just gone through now.
Exactly.
We've doing a lot of upgrades to the framework to integrate semantics and smarter things. So Yeah, the CL, like Raz has been on the CLC courses forever. He's there all the time, every week, and he asks new questions. As he's building and learning, so do the questions come up in his mind. They become more advanced, and he's at a stage now where he's giving me some really good questions, and that's the guys who take advantage of the actual program.
Yep. So Leonardo asked an interesting question. If I get the CLC training, can I teach other people? So I would act as a coach of the network empire. So because we're designed so that agencies can come in and hold a seat, the idea behind the CLC course is that you can teach the other people in your company, especially if they're actually going to be doing the work. They can either sit in on the training, they can watch the webinar replays, they can take that training, but like if you actually wanted to go and teach that like in your own, put up your own members area and do your own teaching, no, not that.
All right. Let's dive into some of the actual vision now, because Sue, you and I talked about this, and we've joked around about just kind of running right up against the clock and starting this webinar even a few minutes late because of this, because we were just making sure we had all this mapped out right. The web ring system, the philosophy behind the web ring system really does pull from both sides of the brain. It's not strictly left brain or right brain. And for those of y'all that don't know the difference, I mean, guys, give me a 1 if you understand left brain versus right brain. Give me a 2 if that's a new concept. All right. So
Not too many 2s.
No, not too many. So, guys, here's the idea. The right side of your mind, the right hemisphere of your brain, that's where the artistic, that's where the creativity is, the artistic side of it. That's where you can see shapes and put puzzles together. But the left side of your brain, that's where the data analysis is. People that are accountants tend to be more left hemisphere people. People that are it's where the whole mindset of, as a rule of thumb, people that are left-handed tend to be more artistic because they're whatever side of your brain is doing it, it controls the opposite side of your body. The wires cross, right? So the right side of your brain controls the left side of your body. The left side of your brain controls the right side of your body. This also means that in doing ads, let's just talk about digital marketing for a second. When you're doing ads, it means that if you want to target the artistic side of the mind, you put pictures on the left-hand side and data on the right-hand side. Just, a little bit of neuroscience there. But anyway, going into that, let's talk about the whole, when you're talking about the science aspect of things, targeting the left side of the brain, talking about the science, the web ring system is being able to, you're building the digital marketing blueprint to meet all the business rules and specs. In other words, you're setting the plan and the construct. But the artistic side of it is we have to have a fluid system that can adapt, that can bend, it can be molded to any market or any business and industry out there. And then moving on down where you're going into analytical to be the more rigid, the more straight, you have to have the ability to have a mathematical process and to be able to track things to perform digital marketing. In other words, these are the numbers, right? But for the more right-minded individuals and for that side of our persona of who we are, you also have to allow a company just to be itself and let an expert be the expert. This is where you really are just letting people be who they are and not saying, oh, no, wait, you can't do you can't do an article like that because that doesn't fall into the analytics. No, it still has to be creative.
But I'm a dominatrix.
Well, but see, that's part of your creative side.
Exactly.
Exactly. This is what makes digital marketing look like playing 3D chess with Spock.
I love Frank's comment. Torture requires a lot of creativity.
It does. It does. The logical side, the problem-solving side wants a step-by-step system. Like, right? You want your checklists, you know, all that kind of stuff. But the artistic side, you want it to look natural. You want the communication to be natural, free-flowing. It doesn't need step-by-step.
It should look random, like everything else.
It should look random. The whole web ring system, when it's finished, should look from the outside looking in totally random. The logic end of it, the problem-solving aspect of this. The system is designed for diversified traffic. On the same note, for you, for me, if you're an agency talking to a potential client, it needs to be evergreen, and it needs to pass on the feeling of evergreen. Here is why when you break down the web rings and you start to share it with someone else, all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait, that makes sense. Duh. Right? Because what they end up doing is all of a sudden they quit focusing on the next gimmick, the next trick, and they start focusing on the more holistic mindset of what the web ring system is. Now, in doing that, and Matt, I think you're going to like this part, right?
I'm listening.
I did a SWOT analysis of the whole web ring system.
Ah, interesting.
You ready for that? All right. So strengths, all right? And Matt, Sue, Matt, Kevin, anything y'all want to add to these sections? We'll just go clockwise, starting with strengths, and add to it. Here are the things that I came up with, and a few of these Sue helped tweak. But on strengths, the web ring system is flexible. It's layered, which means it can grow or shrink based off of what you need. It lets you as a business control the conversation, and it doesn't focus on one single thing. It actually encompasses all of digital marketing. You know, anywhere from email marketing, going from the WR3 sign-up forms all the way into landing pages to sales funnels, silos, SEO, SEM, retargeting. All of digital marketing gets encompassed, and that's a major strength, I believe, for the web ring system. Anything else y'all would like to add to strengths?
I want to make a comment on the layer.
Okay.
Everyone looks at the web ring in a two-dimensional view because we draw two-dimensionally, but it's actually a three-dimensional object because when you think about the keyword DNA, how the words are connected in the solid architecture in the framework, right? We've got the primary keyword we're targeting, we've got the synonyms, and we've got the supporting keywords, which builds the DNA up for the page and that theme. When you look at the dash stack, that's actually a layer that fits within the web ring as well. But it's a backlinking web ring. So it's a separate layer that sits underneath it. So when we speak about a stackable system, it's also stacking from the bottom up, as well as going from the center out. That's one of the strengths of the web ring, which not many people understand.
I think we're going to have a diagram about that later.
Yeah.
We're going to dive
because that's really what it is. It gives us absolute control of everything that we work with. So we can rapidly fix and change and tweak things.
Exactly.
Kevin, do you have anything to add to the strengths of the web ring system?
Oh,
you knew I was going to put you on the spot eventually.
Yeah. I think for me, the core strength of the web ring system is it doesn't put all of your eggs in one basket. By using the web ring system effectively, as we show you, you've got multiple baskets around the web. So if you do have an issue with one, coming back to what Sue said about that social media and that diversification. The web ring system gives you that diversification, and you're going to be pulling in multiple sources of traffic from multiple locations, and I think that's the biggest strength of it.
Yep.
Love it. Sue, any thoughts? Or anything else to add?
I already gave you my thoughts.
What? Just because I read your thoughts doesn't mean I can't try to get more?
No, I think we're good.
All right, so let's dive into weaknesses, because there have been questions about, well, when should you do this? When but so in that, every system has weak points, and the weak points I have really found in the web ring system is, one, it is absolutely overwhelming for a beginner. It will fry their brain in minutes, because it just seems so big. The other part of that is it's just misunderstood. People don't understand what they're really looking at. And by the way, there's a couple of y'all that are saying, yeah, my brain's fried. I'm new. I'm just now diving into this. Guys, we're going to dive into the web rings and try to break it down for you in the next few minutes. So hang tight. We're going to do our best.
Guys, just imagine you bought yourself a box of Lego and you're going to build the Empire State Building. As you pull that heap of blocks on the ground, you got a big heap, but as you add each block on top of each other, after a while you get the end result. That's how you should just consider the web ring. It's a modular thing that you put together. You build it up as it goes along. That makes it easier to understand if you approach it from that perspective.
I was going to say something along the same lines as Matt. The web ring system is a bit like, the first time you see it, you feel like a baby. There's a big wide world out there, and where do you begin? So, as a baby, you're flat on your back and it's overwhelming, and you're dependent on everybody else helping you, and eventually you'll roll over and start to crawl, and then you'll stand up and you'll fall down and you'll stand up again, and eventually, sort of as you get more experienced, you can walk and run. And the key to the web ring system is to go through it one step at a time, taking the modules that Matt said about, and do one site at a time, one aspect of it at a time, learn from it. And we've all been there, and it's that learning curve that's the hardest part. And then once you've done it once, the next part becomes easier, and then it becomes easier still. And before you know it, using the processes that we've got for you and the pathways, it becomes so much easier. So yeah, it is overwhelming for beginners. It can be overwhelming as you're learning the new parts, but stick with it and it becomes easier, and it just all falls into place, and you will end up with that Empire State Building.
Yeah. Or if you're halfway through building the Empire State Building and realize you just need a strip mall, you can shift and do it because it is a modular system. And that's hard for a lot of people to understand, is how modular it really is.
Yep.
The other part, here was one of the biggest things that was painful for me to implement with clients. You build it, it's there, and then the client has no ability to get you content, because what you have is you have a system that is content dependent. You gotta feed the beast, and that ended up being a big weakness for me as an agency. That ended up being a weakness for me, but that's also where the birth of SEO casting came from. The whole
AT5.
the AT5 system, that whole course was born out of fixing that problem. And but apart from having a mindset of how to develop content, this gets painful, because then you're like, okay, now what do I do? Moving on into opportunity. This is my favorite part. opportunity. It allows a business to move beyond chasing the most recent fad and gimmick, right? You don't have to do that anymore. It allows affiliate marketers the ability to focus on a specific niche, because now you're not focusing on a product. You can now focus on a niche because you can build a network to target that niche. And then for a business, it lets you control the market by controlling the entire conversation about the market and about your business. For an agency, it 100% diversifies who and what you are and makes you almost unsusceptible, but it really makes you extremely less susceptible to search engine change. From an agency perspective, I love the web ring system. I no longer have to say I'm an SEO guy. I can now say I'm a digital marketer, because depending on the business, which skill set do we pull out of the hat? Because now we're into digital marketing and we're not dependent on the search engines, because we have this whole network of traffic and all those different things. Guys, what other opportunities do you see this whole platform throwing back at us? Silence.
Ganti brings up, lots of crickets, Jazz, and you've got a like mind in Rick there. But Ganti brings up something that moves over to threats, and one of the biggest perceived problems that he's got. And he talks about footprints and the battle with the search engines. So to address that head on, if you're only playing the SEO game, you will have a battle with the search engines, because by definition you are talking about search engine optimization. As Mike has said, and Matt has said, we're trying to teach you to build digital businesses, real-world businesses based on real-world foundations that do not rely on one aspect of the bigger picture. So by implementing, the web ring system, you're not just relying on the search engines. So to some extent, and because this is unplugged, you can say screw the search engines, because this web ring system, it involves your social media, your email, and search engine optimization. So if Google do decide to move to the football field that you're playing on, you've still got other strings to your bow in multiple baskets that are still bringing in traffic and business to your money site. And everything that we teach throughout all of the different modules, one thing builds on the other. And we teach you to do things the right way, and we don't teach you to try and game the system. We teach you how to help yourself if other people try to do nasty things to you. But this is a big picture, not just focusing on SEO. SEO is an important part of it, but it is just a part, and this is a framework. So you don't have to worry too much about footprints, because we're teaching you about diversification to bring in traffic from multiple sources.
Yep. They'll actually help you to obfuscate footprints.
Not only that, here's the other one. I have a client that is finally, because of them being able to record things and do stuff, here's what it ends up being. Guys, the web ring system is not SEO. SEO is inside the web ring system, but it is not the primary driving force. Digital marketing as a whole is the driving force. Guys, and there's some of y'all that are asking like SEO questions. Is this SEO? Is this, guys, slow down. You're trying to get way ahead of yourself on this. What you're saying when you're like, well, the web ring is susceptible to this because of SEO. No, what you're saying is the whole toolbox is in danger because of the wrench. SEO is a tool in the toolbox. The web ring system is the entire chest of tools. It's not the one tool.
Exactly. Because we've got some new guys on here, I want to reiterate something that I have said many, many times. If you have more than 1/3 of your traffic coming in off of search engines, you are setting yourself up for a disaster because an update can come out. Now, granted, Panda's made things a little bit, this recent Panda 4.0 has made recovery quicker. However, it doesn't mean that you're not susceptible still to having your entire website fall off of the search engines for whatever reason. For example, we've got this great guy, well-renowned in the business, who's doing our Facebook for us, and for the last week his site has not been accessible because he got malware on it. And so Google's completely shut him down. You try to hit his website, this big screen comes up, are you sure you want to continue? We won't let you continue. No, you can't come in here, it's infected. Right? So for whatever reason, you want to make sure that you have got diversification so that you don't have all of your eggs in any one basket. It's the same thing for people who are very keen on social media. I know folks who do their entire online marketing on their Facebook page. What happens when their Facebook account gets banned? If you have any place, anything, any one weak point in your marketing system, in your campaign, that's the place where you are susceptible for failure. So what the ring system actually does is provides as much diversification as is conceivably possible.
It's a traffic engine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a massive traffic engine.
Traffic equals conversions.
So you're going to end up with at least 1/3 of your traffic ought to come from your list, 1/3 of your traffic ought to come from social media, and 1/3 of your traffic ought to come from Google. And if you want to have paid traffic, then you can make quarters out of all of those, right? And if you're very much skewed from any of those, then you're setting yourself up for failure, right? You're creating a weak point within your marketing campaign. What were you going to say, Kev? Sorry.
Rizel has asked a question I think we really sort of need to address head on as well. And he says, is it safe to say that the web ring is for bigger budget projects? Now, I've got some thoughts on that, but Sue and Mike, what's your thoughts on, is it just for bigger budget projects?
No.
Well, the concepts scale up and down. Mike said this earlier, right? You can decide that you're building an Empire State Building. You can decide that you need all 6 rings out of the ring system. And you can get halfway there and you go, actually all I need was a mall, or all I need is a corner store. So the concepts actually scale and pivot depending on what it is you need, depending on how competitive your market, depending on how wide you need to stretch in order to be able to what you want to ultimately do. What market domination is controlling all of the conversations about your products and services across the board, period, right? You want to enter into those conversations. Even if you can't completely control it, you want to make sure that you have a voice in all of those. So you do some analysis up front to determine where your competitors are, and we do some more analysis up front to determine where your target markets are, and then you plan the elements of your ring systems accordingly. Mike?
Yeah, and just to reiterate, just to go a little deeper with that, I've used the web ring mindset on small little companies, like a mobile auto glass company who will come to you and replace your windshield if it's got a crack in it, all the way up to high-end personal injury attorneys with multiple offices and 100 paralegals and 25 to 30 attorneys, right? So it goes from the small business all the way up to the big business. Now, the small business does not have a 300, 600 property WRS3 6 web ring network. They don't need that much. The small business usually doesn't need much beyond their website, their blog, their social media, and the RSS feed with a little bit on the WR2.
SaaS is a prime example of that.
Exactly. Yes, it is.
They've got a WR1, a money site, and Facebook. That's the only thing they use. They don't use all the properties. Like in their business, they're busy cutting hair and doing their stuff. But being ladies, Facebook's like second nature to them. They're on the phone, snapshot the phone, comment, post, and it's on Facebook, and it drives a lot of traffic to their business. And in the rankings, we get traffic. But it's built within the framework. We just chosen 2 little modules. That's all we needed. We didn't need much more. We just went boom, boom. And the business is running fine. They're busy. It's the 3rd year in business. I mean, we built that business up just applying the WebRing system, and it took off. So you can scale this as big as you want.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then it goes into, and sorry, Kev, I didn't mean to cut you off because I have a feeling you were getting ready to go to the next question, which is what I was just getting ready to say.
What I was going to say, Mike, was that my perspective on it is it's a matter of perception. So those of you that have been involved in manufacturing know that a process and following, sort of that process time and time again is the most efficient way to get bulk things out of the door. Now, just because one business might not be able to afford a web ring, for those of you that have got the agency mindset, one of the things that Matt points out and teaches within, I can't remember which course it is, Matt, is that yeah, we teach you to own the sites that you are putting together. So if you are in a market where you have a site aimed at hairdressing and things like that, and you build a ring for that business, if that business stops paying, you can then, because you own the traffic coming through it, divert the traffic using what we teach in the course to your next client. Or you can have a bigger ring and keep 2 or 3 clients that can't afford to pay for a big sort of massive ring. You can have more than one client benefiting from the sites that you're building. So it's a case of perception, and like Matt and Mike have said, the fact that it's modular and you don't need to have all aspects of the web ring, that works in your favor. The fact is that using what we teach you makes sites rank. So, and moving on to Desiree's question. Hi Desiree, are you listening to Barry? That's from another chat we had the other night. A web ring is a web ring like a PBN, but a social blog network.
We'll get into all that.
Yeah, so
We have slides.
just bring that up, and we'll deal with that in a while. While I go through the questions, if you folks want to carry on around the framework, and I'll dig some more questions out. Keep them coming, folks.
Nice. And we kind of went into threats really quick. Here's one of the biggest threats to this system, and it's when you start viewing the web ring system as a singular strategy. It's where you start seeing the web ring system as it's where it's a social media marketer starts saying, oh, this is a social media marketing platform, or a content marketer goes, oh, this is a content marketing, or an SEO guy goes, oh, this is about SEO. Because it's actually about all of it. It's not about any single one. It's about all of it. So having a narrowed mindset means it's almost impossible to get this thing set up.
You're not going to get the results from it that you think you're going to get if you come at it from only one particular view. If you think you want to use this system to just implement social media or to just implement SEO, it's not going to give you, you're going to walk away going, this doesn't work, because it's not designed like that. It's designed to be holistic.
Yeah, and that's it. When you become too rigid and refuse to see the holistic viewpoint of this, it doesn't really work to its full benefit.
I think a big thing a lot of people forget is that the technologies you implement into the communications of a company, it needs to work with that company. So you always have to think about, how do these people operate? Like with Sassy, they don't want to use a blog, they don't care for it. So does that mean the web ring's broken? No, we just focus on where's the traffic and how do we best get it out. And that's what makes it holistic. You always got to come from the business need of what do we need to achieve. And we can look at it from that way. It simplifies and it maps out very quickly the framework that you've got to build.
Exactly. Exactly. Do you have another slide, Mike, or does this?
I do. I'm sorry, I was answering a question in the.
That's fine.
In the full thing. All right, so then it's, just diving into the web rings. And so what we had is, Sue, I had that one slide, and then we were just going to jump over to the other presentation. And guys, here's something really cool. Sue is going to run through the web rings, the three-layered web rings, from a slide presentation from certification. So it's a detailed explanation, but real quick, as we go into that, I just kind of wanted to, I started to build out an explanation, but we ran out of time. So we're actually we pulled out part of CERT and we're going to show you all that. But let me kind of walk you through what the WR1, WRS1 is, so you can see that it goes beyond just a blog, just a one feed, just an RSS system. Look, on your main properties, that's where you have your money site. That's where your main website is. That's where your blog is. If you're in a technical industry or an industry that has jargon, that's where you can add a wiki on a subdomain or on its own website. Then that's also where your one feed is. So for RSS, you're building your downstream RSS feed. That's where the plugin One Feed Supercharger really can come into play, and you can start really giving it oomph with that. This is the foundation. This is where the original content hits for the syndication to take place. And the branded area of the WR1, WRS1, that's where your branded social media is. That's where your Pinterest, your LinkedIn business page, your Twitter account, your Facebook fan page, the list goes on, right? That's where all that goes. This is also where your primary landing pages are, which become the heads of your silos. This is where you're also doing list building and that final conversion into your list for email marketing, but actually the email marketing, that just breaks through all the different layers of the web rings. It can go on almost anywhere out there in the universe. But on this side of it, this is also where analytics and split testing takes place at a different level. The analytics you're doing on the other web rings is different than the analytics you're doing here, because here's where you're trying to figure out the conversion analytic. How many people do I need to hit this offer to make money? How, what does this headline convert better than this headline? And so now you're split testing and you're testing offers and you're testing pitches and all that kind of stuff. And that's where the branded web ring. And so someone's asking about the Autoglass shop. This is what we have for the Autoglass shop. All we have is the WRS1 for the auto shop, and we have the one feed system pushing out to the branded social media, and I think we only have, as far as like actual SEO, the SEO, like the landing pages are optimized, but his primary tripwire and sales funnel is not optimized. He's running Facebook ads on that. So that's not even optimized. We don't even want it to rank. We want the tripwire to show up to the target demographics, because we're using, or like I was saying, it's all encompassing of all of digital marketing. So we have that. Sue, did you want to take the screen for the other part of it, or?
Sure.
All right. Anything you want to add to this? Because what I did was I just kind of expanded the WR1, the first layer web ring. I expanded it a little bit for the things that are implied and not really mentioned.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice you got the components there that are part of that thing. The people should see that as a component.
Yeah, and what I think we need to do is over the next week or so, I'll finish building all of these out so that we can have them up to where people can see it a little bit better.
Brilliant. While Sue's taking the screen, Matt, just to wrap up the final questions from what Mike was talking about earlier on, we've got quite a few questions come in from Pat, Peter and a few others about how to charge for this type of web ring system. So one is, sort of specifically aimed at what would you charge to administer SASE in your market, and then Peter's question is that from his experience, most small businesses say they don't need all of that and it's too much overkill. So from those two perspectives, what quickly could you just sort of give the people about how to price accordingly for what we're doing here?
Yeah, what you must do is you must measure how much time it takes you to build a site or how much time it takes a team. Get that component price fixed out so you know what that is. Then when you map out the web ring and decide what you have to do, you add up all the components and that gives you a time-based price, okay? That's the simplest way to map it all out. Because if you have to create Facebook, Pinterest, Google+, all the guys, set up analytics, create a blog, create a website, set up the themes, set up the WordPress plugins, all that work. I would set that as a fixed price and then I'd put a margin on it. And Mark goes into a lot of detail about this in the 85 course where he really explains the agency side of it. So I'd really just go look into that because that covers it in a very broad spectrum. And then if small clients come in and I see potential, whatever, I'll just build the site myself because all they really want is a lead, right? And you just set up a deal where they either pay up front for X amount of leads and just have that amount of leads going through to them. It's as simple as that. That's how I approach it. I don't make it complex.
Yeah.
If there is traffic and I can get ranked and I'm getting leads and someone's going to pay me something forward, as long as that website's making money and making profit, then I don't care. It can just run. And as long as they're paying, that's the whole point of it. Because they're happy, they're getting business, and as their business gets more money in, they get a bit more cash flow, then obviously they'll come to you, hey, okay, I've got a bit more cash, what about this other thing? Can you help me with this? They'll come back to you again and ask you more questions. So it all depends on how much time you have in your hands to do those type of projects, probably. But that's how I would handle those two questions.
Brilliant.
So...
Well, and also, like, I saw one of the other things of the comment of it being overkill. That's why it's modular. It doesn't have to be overkill. What you do is the web ring system for a small business, going back to the auto glass repair guy. If you look at the diagram that Sue has up now, where you have all 6 layers of the WR3 web ring network, right? There's 6 layers there. So the auto glass repair guy in his WR1, he has his website with his 2 primary landing pages. He has his blog, and the blog has the RSS feed going into the social. And then for his WR2, we just have a couple of backlinks feeding into it. All he's doing is blogging, and because it's siloed and everything, and the on page is being done right, and it's being syndicated out with RSS, it's working. You don't have to build this 800 property platform for every single account. What you do is you look at it, you look at the complexity of the market, you look at labor, you look at cost to profit ratio, and you adjust. That's
yep.
The beauty of it is it's a modular system. Pick what modules you need to get the results that are wanted and desired.
Right. So, for instance, within niche domination, all we talk about is the WR1 and the WRS1, and that's all you need for 70% of the local sites. That's all you need. And even for some national niches, that's all you need. So in other words, you're looking at your money site, you're looking at your money blog, you're looking at your social platforms like Twitter, Facebook, you're looking at your citations, and you're looking at your Google My Business page, right? And then there might be some backlinks to some of those things just to reinforce that. But that's it. That's going to nail 70% of your local market. Doesn't need to be any more than that. And so that's why that's all we get into in niche domination, because I try to not overwhelm, right? We try to break that down as simply as possible. And then for larger markets where you might want a PinVid site, you might want an RSS site, then we start getting into the WR2s. That's where CLC 3 and 4 come in. We've got videos that go through each of the training and where they fit in the ring system. So for right now, I'm just going to walk you through the ring system and what each level of the ring is supposed to do so that you've got a better idea, a better explanation of how all of this fits together. So we're going to start with the WR1 and just ignore the aspects of launch because it's something that we get into in detail in certification. So this is a privately registered domain. It's going to be a branded site. You can have more than just one site. Obviously, you're going to have whatever your money site is, but you might also have a blog. Sometimes it's the same. Your money site and your blog are the same. I like to split them out personally, even for smaller companies, unless they really, they're really not going to blog more than once or twice a month. Then okay, you can have it all one thing. You might have branded forums, you might have branded wikis, you might have a membership site. There's all kinds of branded concepts that you might have. All of those are on domains that you own, and so all of those fall into the WR1. When you look at a buying cycle, the buying cycle starts with the initial inquiry, goes through product discovery, looking for social proof, and then you determine which brand you want, and within that you determine which product you want, and sometimes that's part and parcel, it's all one decision. And then usually you go into granular detail for that particular product then, and you're looking for specific social proof. What are the reviews for this particular product? And then finally you make a purchase. So on your WR1 site, you're going to cover these last three phases, and then as we move out in the rings, you're going to see that we move up into the initial inquiry, and that's why I say market domination is dominating the entire conversation. All of these ideas, all the processes within the buying cycle. So obviously people need a buy button on your money site. You might have a buy button someplace else. They might be able to purchase off of Facebook. They might be able to purchase off of Amazon. That's great. You want to make sure that you have a buy button on a domain that you control too. You want to be able to have your specific social proof. You want to have, testimonials. You want to be able to have product reviews, whatever it is you're selling, depending on how you're selling it. You want to have that specific social proof actually on your site. It's great if it's on Yelp as well or someplace else, but you want to make sure that you've got some of that right there so that if the first time they hear about you is on your website, they have all of the information that they need to be able to make a decision, a buying decision right there. And that's where you also need enough information about the product and some information about the brand so that they can make an intelligent buying decision. All right, good. Just check the questions. We'll get back to some of those. So then the objective with your WR1 sites is you're trying to build trust. You're communicating with your potential buyers and with people who have already purchased. You're doing direct marketing. You're saying like, this is my product, buy it. And you're also doing sales, right? You can also have some indirect buying on your blog, but typically speaking, everything that's on your branded sites, it's more direct. It's, you're talking specifically about how they should buy it and why they should buy it, and you're pretty direct with your funnel, right? All right, so now we get into the WRS1. These are branded third-party platforms, and the major platforms are YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Google+, depending on whether you're B2B or B2C. Obviously, if you're B2C, you want to make sure that you hit Facebook. If you're B2B, you want to make sure that you hit LinkedIn. Everything else is good either way. Then you've got other things like Scoop It and Storify. Those are also third-party platforms where you do content curation onto. So there's gosh, there's a list of about 70 different platforms, not including citations, which fall into the WRS1 category, and then there's like, I don't know, 100 and maybe it's only 70 or 80. Probably depends strongly on which country you're in, but there's another at least 70 citation platforms that would also be included as your WRS1, because this is where you go and you create an account, and that account is specifically about your brand. Oh, that's citations come under business branding. You've also got personal branding, where you go and talk about you yourself. LinkedIn is an example of personal branding. You can also have, obviously, your LinkedIn business page. Google is another example of personal branding, and you can also have your Google My Business page. But there's all kinds of other places out there. If you really wanted to get your name out there, there's another, I don't know, at least 20 or 30 different platforms where you can put your name and who you are, like a bio and that kind of a thing, and a link back to your website. So all up, you're looking at someplace between 150 and 200 sites that can come into your WRS1, right? So the things that you're doing, the target buying cycle steps for the WRS1 is specific social proof and product determination. You're going to talk about your products. You're going to obviously get more social interaction on those third-party platforms, but you don't ever want to like actually have a buy button. Facebook being one of those few examples. Most social platforms, you don't want to be crass and actually promote the purchase. It's more of an indirect buying, which we'll get to here in a second. The objectives are personal branding, business branding, trust building. Particularly, you're trying to communicate on all those social platforms, and that's one thing that I will say when we talk about like 150 to 200 platforms. That's one of the first places that you start to scale up and down depending on the resources that the company has or that you're willing to offer, that they're willing to pay for, in terms of being able to communicate, because you don't want to be on platforms that you're not actively listening on. That's rude, and you can burn your trust that way, obviously. These platforms do a lot for driving traffic. They do a whole lot for driving traffic. You set those up well, you get them set up properly with the one-feed system, and then it's insane. And as I said, it's geared more toward indirect traffic than direct traffic. And one of the big things that this is going to do, even so a lot of these links are no-follow links, they still send an incredible amount of link juice to your WR1 money site. And that's why I said earlier, you can pretty much rank for most of the local markets just by setting up your WR1 and your WRS1. All right, good, no questions. We'll continue forward then. The WR2 ring, these are also registered domains. These are domains that you own. They're thematically related, but they're not branded. So in other words, your brand is not the thing that's in the headline. These can be websites, they can be blogs, they can be forums, they can be wikis. Typically, those are the only kinds of things that we have in the WR2. And these sites are owned by personas. And we get more into that idea of personas in the CLC3 and CLC4 courses. And then certification takes the concept of persona to a whole other level. But I'll just say that about like that's one of the ways that one of the reasons why the ring system is more effective than a PBN, because a PBN is just put up. Nobody owns that PBN, right? But the domains in the WR2 are actually owned by a person. There is a persona who takes possession of them, and they're a fairly well-rounded person, right? We talk about how all of the kinds of things that the persona should include. And not only, which we'll get into in a minute here, not only do they take possession, virtual possession, of the WR2 domain, but they also have their own social accounts, which are in the WRS2, right? So that's one of the things, because there's social accounts that are associated with that site, and the names all match. That's why it passes a Google sniff test, because it looks at it, and then there's the link to the Twitter account, and there's the link to the Pinterest account, and all of these things, they're owned by the same persona. All right, so as we look at what happens from the buying cycle perspective on the WR2, people are looking for people who are trying to determine a brand, right? They know they want to buy a new monitor, but which new monitor do they want? So oftentimes they're going to land on your WR2 when they're looking for brands. And so your WR2s are not just about the products that you're selling on your WR1 site. They're also about the competition. And you can set it up so that there's like that you've got a review site going on, and you compare different kinds of monitors, and you talk about which ones are better, which is obviously going to be the one that you're selling on your WR1 site, but hey, you can have it set up so that there's all kinds of videos from all kinds of, when you're doing the PinVid site, you don't care whose monitors are on this PinVid site, because underneath it, the call to action that's on the page sends people over to the money site. All right, so brand determination, product determination, and specific social proof. That's what you're going to find on your WR2 rings. The objectives here are indirect marketing, social proof of brand, product, and people, driving traffic, and link juice. So you've got some SEO, and you've got some social traffic. And the other thing that you don't do, and you're not going to see in these slides because it's a whole other conversation, is how your content is being syndicated to your WR2 sites. So just know that you've also got content marketing that's going out as well as the link juice that's coming back. All right, so then the WRS2. Starting to get tired. All right. I know I needed that last coffee. Dang. All right, your WRS2. These are third-party platforms that are not branded. As I said, they're owned by your personas. They're not owned by you. You've got YouTube. You can also have a Twitter army, which would be like Social Explosion. And they've typically got a Google account too. So you've got Twitter, you've got YouTube, you've got Pinterest. So you've got a mix in the WRS2 of things that are specific to the persona, as well as maybe using things like Social Explosion to get a wider reach. So that would also be considered WRS2. Actually, I skip it, Storify, and all of that should have come off of there. All right. Things that you target. Here, you've got broad social proof, you've got brand determination, and you've got product determination. Right? So a lot of what's on the WRS2 is the one feed that's coming off of the WR2. It's also mixed in with some other stuff. So that's how you get the broad social proof in there. You're going to automatically, because those sites are all automated, you're going to automatically be pulling in all kinds of different content, as well as your own content, and promoting your own testimonials. All right, so objectives here: indirect marketing, because you're on social platforms; social proof, because people are talking. We get a whole lot of people, like we've probably got 5 or 6 Facebook accounts, Facebook fan pages set up for our for Network Empire's WRS2, and it's really interesting to me because we've got, out of those 5 or 6 fan pages that we have set up, we have one that is really super active. And we're constantly getting people signing up to that fan page, and we're constantly getting leads off of that Facebook fan page. And it's a persona who just says, hey, I'm a Network Empire fan. I'm into, that particular one is into keywords. I'm into keyword research. And this company over here, they got some great software. So the other thing that it does is it provides link juice to the WR2 and the WRS1. So it's also, as I said, again, these tend to be all no-follow links, but it still provides, it gets everything indexed and provides some good link juice. How are we doing on questions? Broad questions.
Very broad questions.
Good. Oh, and somebody says best webinar ever. Excellent, thank you. All right, so WR3. So this is automating the automation. All right, these are registered domains that you own They're not branded, and these domains don't even have a persona associated with them. They're exceptionally diverse. They're still thematically related, but they're exceptionally diverse because they're pulling in from all of the different content on your WR2s, your WRS2s, and your WRS1s. Excuse me, it's almost always blogs. It can also be forums, but at this point we're pretty much doing the whole thing with blogs. And these sites, they don't actually get a lot of traffic. I really need to, I should have redone this slide too. You might find somebody land on these sites, but typically the sole purpose for these sites is it indexes everything else. It is responsible for making sure that everything else gets indexed. They're rapidly moving content blogs. Google loves them. They get ranked for ultra long tails. We don't try and beef those sites up a whole lot, but their usefulness, like if you don't have the WR3 layer, your WRS2 and particularly your WR2 is not as effective. So that's WR3. The WRS3 we implement in terms of it's just delicious in Twitter. It's mostly social explosion, and it's just designed to make sure that everything in the WR3s get pinged. That's all that they're there for. Indexing the WR3s. All right. So does that answer 5,432 different questions about what the ring system is and how it's used? Give me a 2 if you're still fuzzy on what the ring system is and how and why it works. All right. Yes, so the details of what and where are in the individual courses. And so along with, let me just see if I have this in my little list of, that's not the right list. Mike, or somebody who's there, since maybe Mike's taking a break.
Nope, I'm here.
When you're on www.networkempire.com, actually I can get there, hang on, we can get there from here. I can just show you guys. I don't have to I was going to look just for the links for the videos, but I can just show you guys where it is. So on www.networkempire.com, under products and services, we have 3 new videos that I made just about a month ago with Fran, and it explains how all of our products and all of our training fits into the ring system. So in other words, if you're looking at this ring system and you want a solution for that, this is the course and this is the software that you need to do, right? So, a lot of the courses, I think all of the courses pretty much come with the products that you need in order to be able to do that specific thing. So like if you're building a pin vid, you're going to get the pin vid theme, you're going to get all the plugins, you're going to get everything. And for a minute, like for a month, you get keywords so that you can find your keywords. You can have a few days of Kraken. So you have everything you need, but later, if you want to build one, obviously you're not going to have keywords in Kraken. You're still going to have the theme, you're still going to have the plugins. You can use that on as many sites as you want, you can build as many sites, but you're going to want to get like the stuff that you only had temporary access to, you're going to want to come back and get that for another month or whatever. So, alright, good. So those videos will help you out a lot. Let me just drop the link to this page. There was initially problems with people seeing the videos, but I think it's there for everybody now. And we'll include those videos underneath the replay too, the links to those guys. All right.
Sue, do you mind if I steal the screen back for 1
Oh,
second?
please do, because, my tongue is actually tired. This has never
Okay.
happened before.
Let's.
I think it's a lack of coffee. I think it's decaffeinated, and it's hanging out the side of my mouth.
That's awesome. All right, guys, can y'all see my screen now?
Yes.
Did that just okay? Guys, here's what happens when you take the web rings that Sue just walked you through and turn it sideways.
Exactly.
What the web ring system does is it builds an evergreen traffic and funnel system. At different points in this, you can set up email marketing. Different points in this, you can set up retargeting. Different points in this, you can put a Facebook tracking pixel to set up demographics for specific targeting. Different areas and levels, you can skip through and move things around, and so on and so on and so on. And what you've now built by implementing the whole web ring system top down is you've built a funnel to drive traffic, leads, and everything through the whole system. A question just came in. Are we adding an email marketing course? Yes, Kevin Polly is building an email marketing course as we speak. So that's going to be exciting. Guys, do y'all understand? Give me a 3 if you understand how when you just flip it sideways, you now have a funnel. Give me a 5 if that's fuzzy. Awesome. Everybody got it. Almost everybody got it. Okay. Guys, there's a lot of questions. Kevin, did you see any other questions in there that I just skimmed over?
Yeah. How much of this is automated after it's set up?
Large, massive chunks of it. Go ahead.
So the only thing that you have to do once this is all set up is blog.
Yep.
The blog posts drive the entire engine. I had to create something. Matt and I had to create something. We put our brains together so that all you had to do was the minimal amount of work, and the whole rest of the thing runs. It's like one of those automated GIFs where, the little guys and the little balls and they're everywhere. It's like that. And the only thing you do is blog, and it turns the whole system on. James says, I want me an empire.
Yeah, and
exactly.
Guys, one of the things, I have had a couple of prospects go, well, this is extreme overkill. And I'm like, oh, I thought you wanted to earn money.
I thought you wanted to dominate your market. What a wimp.
I asked you, are you ready to take over the world? And I'm a comedian. I joke around about everything. It's hard to get me to be serious more than 3 minutes at a time.
Right?
When they say things like that to me, it's like, well, isn't this kind of overkill? And I'm like, overkill is so underrated.
Underused.
Underused, yeah. It's
Got to say, I love Peter's comments of that. There's no such thing as killing something too dead.
I want to make sure my competition doesn't ever get out.
But guys, part of that is, though, when we start looking at it, it stacks. Everything stacks in layers. So because it stacks like this, here was one of the things. So can you just briefly talk about the You Everywhere page and how that is not showing you a complete web ring? It just shows you the modules in the web ring. Because
Go pull up You Everywhere, because I don't remember.
Here, I think I might have it up somewhere. Or let me just go pull it up real quick. So I used to use this a lot when I'm talking to clients. Here it is. Let me zoom in.
All right.
Yeah, and this needs to be updated, which
So yeah, this was designed for marketing purposes. This was designed,
is how I use it.
right? We didn't want to give away the farm. We didn't want to explain too much about it because that was what we talked about in the CLC classes and insert. So we created this so that you would get an idea of what the ring system was without being able to go out and do it without taking the courses. Now I realize nobody's going to try to do it without taking the courses anyway, so it's okay. We can talk about it a little bit more.
And not only that, guys, when we're talking about in the WR2, say you put a PinVid out here in the WR2, right? So you have PinVid WR2. Well, that WR2 needs its own Twitter army, its own Pinterest army, and so on. Each property needs social.
Yeah.
So we're not talking 20-something properties. We're talking this could easily scale out for a really, really, really competitive market into 1,000 properties, into 500 properties. But that's why it's scalable. You can scale it up into something huge.
Here's the beauty of it. After having done a few at this point, you don't need that much. Like it doesn't scale to that level. You can actually get away with a fairly small WR2, WRS2 number of properties because the magnification effect is so ginormous. And so the only reason why I might have more WR2 properties than, I don't know, say 3 or 4, is if I have a huge number of keywords. So in your average niche, you've usually got 2,000 to 3,000 keywords, and in your average market, you've usually got about 10,000 keywords. So every twice in a while, I come across a market that's got, I don't know, 20 or 30,000 keywords, and then I would have some more sites in the WR2 ring because I want to make sure that I'm targeting all of those keywords properly. But yeah, it depends on how many silos you've got on your main site, and if the number of silos you have on your main site's reasonable, in other words under 10, then you're probably not going to need more than like 4 properties in your WR2 ring.
What do the different colors stand for? They're there so you can see the layers.
Yeah.
They have no meaning.
Amaze and confuse.
It's just to make certain things stand out more.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, this has been a really fun webinar. This has been probably, in my opinion, from the marketing side and explaining side, I feel that this was a needed webinar.
I agree.
One of those things that just really, the information needed to be out there. We needed to break down the web rings and explain it in more detail. Sue, I'll save you for last. But Matt, closing remarks. What any closing remarks on the whole web ring system, on the evergreen system? Anything that stands out and big to you?
Command and conquer.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
I sent you a little image there in Skype just to give the guys a little preview of what just the WR1 does and how many keywords you can get ranked for.
Let me find it real quick then.
I think that says more than anything else. You get results, guys. That's what it boils down to. Don't overthink the web ring. Just implement it.
Exactly.
So there's a little theme there with 24 keywords, 11 are in positions 1, 2, and 3, and then there's another bunch in, you can see the movements. So also with the update, can you see how the keywords have been shifting around if you look at the little green blocks?
Yeah, the greens and the reds.
Yeah. But there's a few hundred keywords there, but that's what a WR1 basically gives you. A lot of the keywords are sitting in the top rankings.
Yep. That's exciting.
So that's all I want to say for this presentation. I think it's been brilliant. I really enjoyed it today.
Sweet. Kevin, any final remarks?
No, I think in this we've pretty much covered all of the important aspects of, what a silo, a web ring is, and how the different bits all work together. I just encourage people to, take it one step at a time. And as Matt said, command and conquer, network domination. One step at a time. That's all I can say as a final comment, I think.
Excellent.
And Sue, last but definitely not least, as our fearful leader, greatly feared? No, wait, not fearful. Greatly feared is the proper term. As our leader, what closing remarks do you have for us in walking out of this trend-setting webinar, and as all the new things, because we have just, guys, I wish that Matt and Sue would just hand over some of the things that they have on the table and let me start talking about it and marketing it, but I've been sworn to secrecy on a ton of stuff.
Nope.
But it's there. It's coming. You have seen nothing yet from inception to today. That was the warm-up. If you paid attention to the timeline, the one thing you heard Sue say in that timeline was, this is the year where version 1.0 is finally finished and we can launch and start marketing. Catch the phrase, we can finally launch. So I'm sitting here looking at it going, well, can I talk about that yet? Nope. Can I talk about that? Nope. Can I talk about that? Nope. Like, can I please talk about this? Nope. So guys, there's a lot to come. With that said, I'm excited with where we're heading. Sue, what do you have? What words of wisdom, what final remarks do you have before we say goodbye?
So I want to remind everybody, watch for the replay. The blog post will contain the link where you guys can sign up so that you can be part of the inner circle as we move forward. Friends and family. I'm excited about that. So all of that will be with the replay. And I think the only other way that I can actually close this session would be to tell everybody to dominate or go home.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. We are launching it. And if you don't want to dominate, bye-bye. I love it. That definitely sets the standard. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you so much for coming and joining us and having fun with us. The last thing I have for y'all is a question. Did you get something today that you could walk away with? Give me a 1 if you have something that you can go use and implement and that you learn from. Give me a 2 if you didn't really get anything new out of today. I love seeing the wall of ones.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Sweet.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you on the inside.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night, everyone.